In terms of time, I would say a good couple of weeks, really. But it depends how organised the business are in advance. Because one of the other things we would always ask for is keyman insurance, and that can take quite a long time to organise. Insurance is on the property, so for instance that they're renting, lease agreements, we look at all of that in the due diligence. However, if a company is, as I've said before, what I would be looking for in a company, they should have that to hand. So that shouldn't be any issues whatsoever. And it also depends on where they are, how many staff they've got. I would say, I said 2 weeks, I would say a full week would actually pull everything in together for a company. And then time-wise, if they can turn it round fairly quickly, we are able to do the investment quickly as long as all the boxes are ticked. And we've done investments in probably 4 weeks, we've done investments in 3 months, we've been 6 months with others.
And when there's a delay, what causes delays?
Lack of information. Perhaps we've asked for a reforecast and that hasn't happened. If the owner of the company suddenly is away, for instance, we've had an instance of that where they went off then doing pitches and sales, etc. elsewhere. We've had shareholding issues, but we've overcome them all. The other alternative or other scenario is we maybe feel that it's too risky for us, for CAF on its own, and we've asked them to get additional funding or match funding, and that's going to take time, and that happened in a company recently, but they came back and we've now invested in those. Before an investment, there's no fees whatsoever. Once we make the decision to make an investment, as the money is handed over to the investee company, there is a small fee that just covers all our expenditure, because we don't ask the investee company to go out and do all the legal side of it themselves. They're obviously more than welcome to go and get legal advice, but we do, as CAF, we actually do all the legal, draw all the documents up, all the company's house documentation, etc. So all of that work obviously has to be paid for. So there is a very small fee on that, a small percentage. But the other fees is once the investment is made, then we do charge a small fee each month called a business support and monitoring fee. That covers 2 aspects. Obviously, we have to report our figures on a quarterly basis to the people who gave us the original investments, and that's continued even though it's now classed as free monies. But secondly, we do appoint a investee director onto the board of each of the investee companies that we've invested into, and they ordinarily would give a day's service a month, and it's that we charge for. Now the investee manager will sit on the board of the investee company with a CAF hat on, but are there ultimately to help, one, to protect our investment, and two, to help steer the investee company, make sure it stays on track, and just generally to help them, because they have a wealth of expertise. And they also, if they haven't got the know, if they're asked a question, then there's a lot of people within the team that can help, so they know how to come back to that. And you'll find that the investment managers will actually put more time in than is paid for going through, and that monitoring fee stays there until the date of exit. So from the businesses, on a monthly basis, as part of their monitoring, we would like to see, based on what they projected at the time of the pitch, or what was accepted, there would have been a profit projection and a balance sheet, etc. We would like to see actuals compared to where they are, and some a narrative as to basically why there's a major variance, if there is a major variance. You'll find more often than not the companies will be sending ad hoc reports to us because they will be asking, and the investment managers will be entirely involved. So sometimes they'll just send notes from the board minutes, so that's useful for our board, because then at the end of the quarter I would then collate all those reports and just send one general report to our board, but it also has to go to our funders as well, original funders. As I said, the good news, we like to know bad news as well as good news, and the reason is we can perhaps help so that we can turn any bad news into good news. We need to know at the forefront, we need to know that the plane's got a fire at the back before it hits the engine at the front, basically. So from CAF's perspective, we would like companies that were thinking about getting investment to see us as totally approachable and helpful. We're not ogres like a lot of VC companies. We will work with the company, and at the end of the day, we're investing, because it's creative industries, we're more than like, in most instances, investing in the people rather than the product. And we try to work in partnership. At the end of the day, it's in our interest as well as theirs to succeed, and we will do everything in our utmost to try and help that business to succeed.